Hi, this is Christine Kenyon with Alpha Omega Soaps, and I am making, this is my second soap I'm making today. This is Balsam and Cedar, and the fragrance oil, oh my goodness, I love this. It is by Nature's Garden, Balsam and Cedar, and I wish it were a year-round scent because I love it. It makes you want to curl up in front of a fire. So right now, today it's 80 degrees and it doesn't feel like sitting, you don't want to sit in front of a fire, but I do feel like smelling this. It's so good. So what I've done, I'm going to include some tips for beginners. So what I did, these are my oils and my tallow. My recipe calls for tallow, canola oil, olive oil, coconut oil, and castor oil. I do castor oil up to 7%. That's great with bubbles. Tallow makes a nice hard bar with a creamy, luscious lather. And coconut oil, of course, makes bubbles. Not too high because it can be too drying. Olive oil, is always good in soap. And what was the other one? Canola oil. I think it has a similar sap value as to olive oil, and it makes a nice bar, also nice lather. So I want to do green and brown in I'm going to do in the pot swirl. So I've got my green and brown ready to mix into, and like I said, what I do is I beat the I beat the oils and the tallow to make it all homogeneous like this. When it's warm enough that I didn't have to melt them down. When it's cold, I'll stick this in the microwave and melt the oils down. And because I don't want to, you can use the lye water, the heat of the lye water, which this here's my lye water, to melt the butters. But I'm doing a cool temp, cold process soap. The reason is because I put a lot of sugar. High sugar content in the soap, and that can cause the heat to rise more. And since it's cold process, I don't want it to volcano or split or anything like that. So I keep the temperatures low, and then I stick it in the refrigerator. So this is my goat's milk powder, and I add honey powder to it. You can add just sugar or honey if you want more. It increases bubbles, and so that's ready to go. And I have my fragrance oil, the balsam and cedar, with kaolin clay powder, and that helps anchor the scent. And I'm going to do in the pot swirl, do like 1/3 of the 1/3 of it into this mold, which I made with the outside is made with a cardboard box, and then the inside I used plastic placemat to do that. And so you can make any size you want when you make it like that. The only thing is you got to be careful if they're too long. If they're very long, the cardboard can bulge, and so maybe if you do a double layer outside frame, it would work. I'm going to spray the layers with gold mica. I got this little spray thing from Wholesale Supplies Plus. It's kind of pricey for one little sprayer. I think it was, I don't know, about $4, but it sprays nice and evenly, and I think I used less of the mica because it sprays evenly and all over. I'm going to spray it with the what's in there is Gold Coast Holiday Mica Powder. I love this stuff. It's very shimmery, glittery, and it flies everywhere, which is another, it even flies with this little sprayer. But I love this stuff. So I've got that ready to go. I'm making another batch of soap, so I've already got my lye water cooling down over here. And so let's get to it. Here's what I do is I don't know if I mentioned this already. I put 1 tablespoon for 2 pounds of oils. I put 1 tablespoon of sea salt. Now you can use any salt, any regular salt. I just like sea salt because it adds minerals and so on. So that's my lye water. So here we go. I'm going to put my goggles on. I've got these are disposable gloves. My other gloves, I have some that I use every, not disposable. but I got a hole in them, so I'm using these disposable ones. My husband got me a whole box of them, which is nice. So, I don't want to knock this over, so here I'm going to, oh, and I got these little spatulas at Joann Fabric. And, you know, I get a lot of my utensils too. I got this bowl, a set. It came as a set. These two and a smaller white one from Goodwill. And I got these set of 3 at Goodwill. So anyway, those are great places to find things for soaping. And so here's my lye water with the salt. It's a beautiful day out. Fall is trying to fall. I'm here in Georgia, north of Atlanta. I was going to say too, I have about, I don't know, 5 or 6 recipes that I use for different reasons. And once, you know, when I started out, I was on a different page every time I made soap, and that was kind of frustrating. Why am I doing that? I don't have to clean it off yet. But once I settled on recipes that I really liked, then I put them in a recipe file on my computer, and they're just ready to go. I just printed out a whole page of the recipes, and I'm ready to go. That also makes it easier when you're making labels, because it's basically, you can recognize which recipe you're using and use the same labels. So now I want to add my goat's milk powder, that's in the distilled water with honey powder. And I'm going to go ahead and add my fragrance oil with, because I'm going to mix it all together. I mean, you can add, some people add I don't like to add it with my lye water. I usually add it after I add the milk, but it's not, anyway, I'm doing it like this now. Oh, it's so creamy. And it smells so good. And I don't think this fragrance oil has vanilla in it, so I don't think it changes the color of the soap. If it does, I mean, I didn't bother checking, because I'm going to put brown in this anyway, so it wouldn't make much difference, you know, wouldn't change my color scheme. But with vanilla, you have to be careful. Earlier I made a frankincense and myrrh soap, and that has a high vanilla content, and the soap turns dark brown. So you have to consider that when you're making a soap. I made a baby powder soap for soap favors for baby shower. It was beautiful, soft pink soaps, and then but the baby powder, I didn't know, had vanilla in it, and so it turned it like a, I don't know, brown pink, and it was ugly, so I had to make some other soaps for her. So that's something to consider. Okay, this is emulsified, ready to go, and I'm going to pour some into the, it's going to be an in the pot, I think I already said that, but I'll say it again, in the pot swirl, which is an easy swirl. And it looks nice if I get it right. So one thing with stick blending is that it'll thicken the soap up more. So This might be better to use since I do want it a little fluid. Now, if you do it high up, it'll sink to the bottom, which the bottom isn't very far down. Some brown. I have this from my Bosch Universal. This is an old one. We got a new set, so I use this to. So I'm not doing it in the pot swirl on this layer, but it looks pretty just the way it is. But I'm gonna do this. And then I think I won't use that anymore. So I want to do a pencil line of gold, and so I want to spray first with alcohol. That helps it stick, the soap to stick together. If you do too thick a pencil line, the layers can separate if you don't spray them out with alcohol. So here we go with the mica. Oh, it's so, I love this gold mica. I don't know if it's flying everywhere. I don't know if you can see that. But so that's that. And I want to just spray it a little again because I'm going to put the more soap on top. So now I'm going to do in the pot swirl. It should be interesting to see how it looks any different. So. So within the pot swirl, you just take I'm going to take this spatula, and you run it through, and I'm going to do a big S and an 8 and so on. And then you just pour it in. So I want to not pour it really, but kind of layer it in. Okay, that's it. So there is my Balsam and Cedar Soap, and this is a bestseller. And I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator so that to avoid any splitting, and then when I mold it tomorrow, I'll show you the cut. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with this soap.